We did it. We made it to part 3, the final part of this first section of the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Program's core training. Once again, I'm Carrie Sargent, the manager of the New Jersey's Urban and Community Forestry Program for New Jersey Forest Service. In this session, we are going to wrap things up by learning about who our partners are and how together we are here to help you manage and grow your local programs, trees, and forests. So our partners are your resources. And so when I say our partners, I mean the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Programs partners. Um, and they are all resources for you. So within the state, we have a very, very strong network related to both urban forestry and arboriculture. But the core organizations that we partner with on a state level and we assist through our federal funding are the New Jersey Tree Foundation, the New Jersey Shade Tree Federation, and the Rutgers Urban Forestry Program. So first we'll talk a little bit about the New Jersey Tree Foundation. You'll be hearing more from the Executive Director, Lisa Sims, in another presentation as part of the core program. So the New Jersey Tree Foundation is a nonprofit established in 1996 that works with planting trees in the state's most underserved communities. So we're talking about the 170 or so compromised census blocks where there's a disproportionate burden of not only pollutants and regulated facility, but the inverse of that, as we talked about earlier with the environmental justice bill that just passed, that again, urban and community trees and forests are inversely impacted. So whereas, there's too many regulated facilities that are essentially polluting within these communities, they also have a disproportionately low canopy volume or number of trees present, or not as robust an urban and community forestry program. So the primary focus of the Tree Foundation is planting trees in these areas. The way that the Tree Foundation can also assist your local program is by providing education, number 2 of our accreditation trifecta, and through management. So for education, the Tree Foundation has historically done a tree keepers program and Right Tree, Right Place in partnership with PSE&G and Rutgers Urban Forestry. And so oftentimes their educational opportunities are free of charge. And you can get urban and community forestry CEUs for them. And we always advertise them on our website, and they're a valuable resource. But what you may not know about the New Jersey Tree Foundation is that they have a Green Streets program. And the Green Streets program, you can actually include the Tree Foundation in your, approved contractors lists or in your request for bids for your tree planting or maintenance projects. The Green Streets Crew is a parolee to professional program wherein folks are taught the knowledge and skills needed for a future career in urban forestry or arboriculture or landscaping or horticulture, wherever interests may go. We all know that there's a lot of different ways that this kind of education can help launch a career. So that's the other thing. The Green Shoots crew can plant trees and do contract work for your municipalities. The Shade Tree Federation is the organization back, a century ago when shade tree commissions and management was first begun in New Jersey. The first organization to really formally come out of that was the Shade Tree Federation, and it served as the membership organization and the voice on aggregate of the shade tree commissions, committees, advisory boards throughout the state of New Jersey. It was the place where everybody can go to exchange their ideas, to exchange information, to learn about best practices and what's going on outside of their communities and throughout the state. And that's still what it does today. The executive director, Donna Massa, puts on this fabulous conference at the end of every October that really provides world-class educational opportunity for our local shade tree commissioners, volunteers, residents, the people that we talk about in our human occupied system. So, as always, we appreciate everything that Donna does to facilitate us getting the education and training that's part of our accreditation program to, our stakeholders through the Shade Tree Federation's conference. It's really an invaluable partnership we have there. And last but not least, we have the Rutgers Urban Forestry Program. So, we have the education and management arm through the New Jersey Tree Foundation. We have education and organization and communication through the Shade Tree Federation. And then we have our third, which is education through education with the Rutgers program. I want to just introduce Jason Grabowski and Pam Zipsey, who are the heart and soul of this program. They were recently awarded candidacy in getting the urban forestry program and the ecological forestry program certified by the Society of American Foresters for the university, which would be, really helpful and help us also establish the other side of the pupil to professional pipeline and getting, urban foresters, municipal arborists out there and engaged and employed by the local governments to facilitate these local programs for urban and community forestry. Um, so as you learned earlier, Rutgers hosts all the information regarding our core courses and our continuing education opportunities. We also support Rutgers through grants as we do the Tree Foundation and Shade Tree Federation in order to support student internships, research opportunities, and yeah, and also, platform development, data analysis, et cetera, et cetera. So, within New Jersey, if you go to one of these four groups, you can get what you need, or they will know how to point you in the right direction. So don't be strangers. Everybody's here to help. If your program's successful, then all of our programs are successful, and so we wanna help make that happen for you. In addition to the variety of local and state governmental and non-governmental organizations that are in New Jersey to help you do what you want to do, and for you to help you reach your goals. There are also many national nonprofits and non-governmental organizations that are working to improve you know, the execution of urban and community forestry and to support the field of urban and community forestry and your work locally at a national level. So the first one that you would probably be most familiar with is the Arbor Day Foundation. The Arbor Day Foundation is a national, well, now it's an international nonprofit, thanks to their new Trees of the World program, by which you can get your municipality certified for the work that you're doing, you know, through your accreditation work in the state of New Jersey. So tangentially, by doing what is in our program, you qualify to be a Tree City USA, and you can apply to Tree City USA. They keep their application deadline in line with our reporting period. So Tree City USA um, applications are due February 15th um, for New Jersey. If you have any specific questions regarding about your town's current status regarding the Tree City USA program, you can just reach out to the Arbor Day Foundation directly. One program that's now of the Arbor Day Foundation as well is the Alliance for Community Trees. And that's a great network. It's a national network of state and local and national urban and community forestry, nonprofit organizations, and institutions that are doing the same work that you do. They have a variety of educational supports for you and special events that you can participate in on a national basis, etc. Next, there's American Forest. American Forest is also a national nonprofit that does some really interesting work. They're the ones who gave us the 40% canopy non-rule now. They issued their retraction of the 40% canopy guidance about 3 years ago now. They're doing really great work right now around carbon, urban carbon markets, tree equity in America's cities, which is a really great new program. You can go on their website to learn more about how you can engage with that program. And they're also spearheading the U.S. effort for the um, Davos 1 Trillion Trees initiative. So all that information you can find out through American Forests and see how what you're doing, can be supported by these larger national organizations. Finally, I just wanted to let you know about the Sustainable Urban Forests Coalition. So it's a coalition of private businesses and organizations, nonprofits that represent the advocacy arm, for the most part, for the urban and community forestry stakeholders. And so I'd encourage you to go check out the coalition, see what the hot issue. Oh, geez. Go onto the Sustainable Urban Forest Coalition website and see what their hot issues are, because what's happening at a national level or at a regional level or with other states, can ultimately affect your work and what you're doing, or other folks might really and honestly have a chance to learn from the work that you all are doing, because we are the only state to have the program that we do. Last but not least, we have the national government. Our primary partner in the national government is the U.S. Forest Service. Uh, the U.S. Forest Service even has its own urban and community forestry program area. It's included with all its other activities under the Farm Bill and the forestry rider there. The state gets a core amount of funding every year under a grant for other forestry programs, forest health, forest stewardship of private lands, forest fire service, education, etc., to carry out these programs. And what we get from the Forest Service, we pass down to the communities. So for the most part, all of our grants to develop management plans since the start of the program really have been supported by the federal consolidated urban and community forestry funds. Um, I've been talking about some of the things that have been required for us to get this federal funding. So we talked about a little bit the council. We talked about our volunteer coordinator and partner, the Tree Foundation. The next thing we have to have is we have to be operating under an action plan for the state. And those are called state forest action plans, and we renew those every 10 years. And so we are just about to launch for outside comment and review the 2020 State Forest Action Plan. We've already engaged with the Community Forestry Council about the plan, and so as an internal advisory body to the state forester, they were given document to review and provide comment. So that's been great. The stakeholdering process has been really great regarding that action plan. But again, that's one of the things that ties us to the U.S. Forest Service. Another program of the Forest Service is Vibrant Cities Lab, and it's in partnership with oh, Larry. Well, with American Forests, and I'm forgetting the name of Larry's group, but they're trying to make your ability to make your case, is how they say it, and to make it happen. Um, in an easier, more user-friendly format. So for Make the Case, you can find out about the most up-to-date research that supports the tangential or other ecosystem service goals that you might be interested in pursuing in your community. And then Make It Happen is they kind of give you a toolkit for how to implement your program. So the Make It Happen is really our accreditation program. What we provide through accreditation is linked to what they're telling you. And so it could be very useful for you to, see what they're saying. We've consulted the toolkit in working on the update of our new guidelines for management plans. Um, so it can be very useful. It's also, as with everything, we ask you to, or I would recommend, look at it with a critic's eye, see what might be helpful or might not. Are they encouraging the use of volunteers in maybe the most cost-effective or appropriate ways, or are there better ways that volunteers can be engaged in order to um, have more resources available to utilize professionals where it might make more sense and give more rigorous information on which you can base your management. And so outside of the Forest Service, there are definitely other federal programs that can support the work that you're doing. Even though you might call it urban and community forestry, EPA might call it green infrastructure. And so you want to look at what they're supporting with regard to green infrastructure and opportunities in the state that might be available for that. For FEMA, it's not a tree, it's debris. And for the first time, they did put out an RFP that we shared via our Facebook and email list about projects that, if you called them green infrastructure and not urban and community forestry, you could get, you could be eligible to get support if you worked with the state emergency management um, coordinators and the county coordinators. And then finally, housing and urban development. And you're saying, oh, what does housing and urban development have to do with urban and community forestry? Well, there's many towns in the state that can one funding source, for example, are community development block grants, or what they refer to as CDBG. No, not the not the club in the village, but the community development block grants. And, they support infrastructure projects. And, for example, when I was working in Camden, I received the first I received funds from CDBG for streetscapes, for pocket park development. For We actually created like mini forests as little mini sinks at the entrances to town. And even in the state, that's that fall. The Economic Development Authority, and then the state's Department of Community Affairs are all intricately linked to these kinds of infrastructure projects. And, so if you have a streetscape you want to redo, you can say, we have a streetscape and we're applying for urban and community forestry funding to support, the planting of trees and enhance green pits. So there's always ways that you can link your urban forestry goals to other things that are going on within your community, and show yourself as a lever for them to put the finishing touches on the projects, and make sure that the planting is done right and the maintenance is done right, because after all the construction equipment is gone, and the fences are dented, the trees will still be there. And so the better the trees are, the more, attention you would get and support. So, okay. I think that's it for that one. Okay, we did it. We made it to the final slide of the first section. So thank you all again. And I just want to end on this note. I know it's been long-winded. I know there's been many sections. And, who thought just talking about, what urban and community forestry is, and how urban and community forestry is programmed in the state of New Jersey to help us. Like, how could that take so much time and talking? But it really is that our trees and forests make the connections between so many things that we do in our communities, and so many of the other things we strive for to improve our quality of life, that they're worth the time. They're worth us taking the time and making these links, connecting the dots to water resource management, to public health and safety, to, conservation of our natural and historic resources, environmental justice, land use management, workforce development, site remediation, and waste management. How do we utilize the trees that we have? And if we take care of them in a certain way, would we be able to, not put this debris into landfills or incinerators? But could we create, markets on which to, you know, to bring in revenue, to generate revenue and support continued active management of our urban forests? Emergency management. We've had a plan for about 5 years now for a Storm Ready Trees New Jersey that we'd like to launch. We've told you we did the trainings, um, and that would really help to offset the work and the pressure that's on local communities if we can get improved coordination between local urban and community forestry programs and county emergency management agencies. There's We connect to water resource management and stormwater mitigation. The trees and forests are filters for our watershed. Transportation, there's connections there, both in terms of deforestation, air pollution mitigation, traffic calming, streetscape improvement, and the big new one, well, not new, but one of the real paths forward is climate and flood resilience. And finally, community and economic development. If we invest in our trees and forests, they will they will bring return on those investments to our communities in a variety of different ways. So, thank you all. Thank you for being part of those connections. Um, and I'm looking forward to talking to all of you in our discussion sessions and online. And here's the last chance. We'll promote the Treasure Our Trees license plate. Please go to treasureourtrees.nj.gov and get your plate today. Feel free to contact us. Your urban and community forestry program consists of myself, Michael Martini, who you'll be hearing from at the last session, Shannon Hart, Terry Slack, Patricia Chapella, Emily Farshon, Anna Korn, and Gail Harji. We're all here to help you. No, they're we're not all the urban program, but everybody can help you. So if you hear any of those names or see any of those names, know that there's a friend behind that email address, and we're here to help you get done what you want to get done. So thanks again and take care.